Hi everybody again. Today I'm going to do a movie review of The Nut Job 2 Nutty by Nature. And when I heard about the sequel coming up since the first movie that came out in 2014, I was just like, why are they doing a sequel? When I heard that they were doing a sequel, I was like, oh my god, they're going to do this. And the first one was awful. I hated the first one, like everybody else. The first one was awful. And then when I heard about The Nut Job 2, I'm like, great, this is just great. But a couple months ago when I saw the trailer for the first time, and it's about Surly and the gang are trying to save the park from a mayor by tearing it down to turn it into an amusement park, I was like, that's kind of a reasonable story. That story doesn't sound that bad. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, it's actually not that bad. It actually looks pretty decent. And I was just like, should I see it in theaters or should I just wait till DVD? But it was kind of weird. I was kind of a little bit intense. Well, not intense, but just kind of like interested, I would say, in this movie. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a second chance. So I told my parents I'm going to go see The Nut Job 2. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I want to. So I went to see The Nut Job 2 in theaters. And what I have to say, I'm actually surprisingly impressed with the movie. Like, it is so 100% better than the first one. So much better than the first one. It is just a better story, likable characters, lots of cute scenes, a likable villain. There was just not a lot of annoying characters, except for the mouse that says, we're all gonna die, like every 5 minutes. But he was like the only annoying character. There was not a lot of stupid jokes, like no fart. There was like not one single fart joke. Like, that is amazing because I just hated fart jokes. Like, it doesn't make me laugh. It makes me disgusted. Because in the trailer, they showed one fart joke, and I'm like, and it was by Precious, the dog, and I'm like, oh, great. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, wait a minute, that didn't happen. There was no fart joke. So, no annoying characters, no stupid jokes. Surly's character was so much better in this movie than the first one, because the first one was he was just a terrible character. I did not like him at all. And I wouldn't say this movie's the best movie or just amazing movie, but I would say it's a pretty good, decent movie. And it is so much better than the Emoji Movie. So right now, I'm going to start going with the plot of the movie. So it was easy to follow, such as like with the main plot, you have Surly, Buddy, Andie, Precious, and the gang. They're all, at the beginning of the movie, they're all happy at the nut shop. The nut shop explodes, and Surly has to find a new home for the animals. And he finds the park, Liberty Park. But then we have a mayor who wants to destroy the park and turn it into an amusement park. And that is the part of the story that Surly and the gang are saving the park from being destroyed by the mayor. And there are subplots such as mayor's plans to stop the animals. Then we have Precious getting kidnapped by the girl, Heather, and meets Frankie, who is her love interest. And then we have Mr. Feng by the voice of Jackie Chan. And another subplot that I think it's kind of a subplot, but I don't know about anybody else who think this is, but the relationship of Surly and Andie. The second one, just this story was more reasonable than the first one. Like I said, I'm impressed because every part of the movie was engaging. It was entertaining, such as the development of characters. I actually laughed a lot in this movie with the humor. I really thought the humor was out there, such as like that it always talks about animal jokes, about dogs, because you have Precious and Frankie barfing and Frankie eating them, and then you have like these funny lines about dogs and animal jokes. And this whole movie is about nuts because it's nutty by nature. So it's all about nuts, 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 nuts. I thought there was a lot of bonding of friendship and relationships, such as Buddy and Surly, Surly and Andie, and Frankie and Precious. Quote, Precious. I really thought this movie had heart because the first one did not at all. With this one, you have Buddy's death, you have Surly's flashback on how he met Buddy and the relationship bondings, and I just think those were really precious moments. I think the theme of this movie was animal abuse, but in a kid-friendly way, because this whole movie has a lot to do with these animals getting brutalized by humans. It's humans versus animals. Because you have the animals' homes are getting destroyed by the mayor to build an amusement park. You have Mr. Feng character who gets kicked out of his home and has to live in Chinatown. And then you have Heather, the spoiled brat girl, who abuses Frankie by not feeding him. She just screams at him, she locks him up in a cage, and then keeps him on a leash, and she just doesn't treat him very good as a dog. One scene that's really, really funny is when the Bruisers and Andie are in another park, but they don't realize it's a golf course. And one of the Bruisers has the golf ball, and then you have these two golfers like brutalizing them by hitting the Bruisers with a golf club. So I thought that was really, really funny. It was very enjoyable. I also thought this movie had a message about not tearing down parks and forests and keeping animals safe, including forest animals, that we should protect parks, we should protect forests, we should not destroy them to build homes and buildings and for construction, and it risks animals by finding a new home or finding food. And I felt like this showed a message that we need to protect wildlife. So I felt like this movie really had a great message. And now for the characters. So the main character is Surly, voiced by Will Arnett, and he is a purple squirrel. He's the leader of the pack. He was a very likable character. I liked him a lot in this movie because the first one, he was just, I didn't like him at all. I just did not like him. He was just grumpy. He was selfish. He was a mean-spirited squirrel. And I understand that he's supposed to be a character that's very, very mean, very grumpy, and then at the end actually has a heart, like Gru from Despicable Me. And there were some fun moments that I really liked. Like, I love the part when he is trying to prove the animals, including Andie, that he can be a leader and he can save the park. And he has more of a hero archetype, and he has a character development, because in the first one we just don't know why is he acting like this or what was his background. And he still has some grumpy moments, but it's not to the point of hating him. But yeah, I really enjoyed him. I think he was very likable. He had a soft side. He was more of a hero than he was in the first one. And he was a great character, had a great development. There were some scenes that we start to know about him and his side of the character and his side of the story. And I just love that he cares a lot about these animals. He cares a lot about Andie, Buddy, Precious. I just really like that part about him. So I'm really glad in this movie they made him a very likable character. And then we have Andie, voiced by Katherine Heigl, who is the female squirrel. God, there's kind of like quite a lot to say about her. So she was a fine character, but there are some moments that she was so weird, that were so awkward, that I didn't really like about her. Because in the first one, she's very intelligent, she's very strong, she represents female power, and she's not a damsel in distress. She'll do the hard work, she'll get the job done. And in this one, it's just weird. Her character is really weird because in the beginning of the movie, she actually acts really strong, and such as the very ending of the movie. But in the middle of the movie, she acts more like a mother figure, Mother Nature type character, because she believes in nature and working hard to get what you want. Because in the beginning of the movie, she does not like that Surly and the animals are getting in the nut job and they're losing their instincts, they're not gathering food for winter, and they're not working together. And she always uses those words: nature, gathering, instincts, natural, storing, working hard together, winter. And there's just some moments that she talks in a very, very sweet, like, naive voice that just becomes really awkward. Like, one scene that just bugged me was when at the tree scene with Surly and Andie. Surly is upset with Andie because the animals are kind of agreeing with her than with Surly. Andie's like telling Surly, the animals need to look up to you, you need to set an example. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? And just the way she said it was so awkward. I just cringed. I was like, oh God, do not say it like that. She was like, you can start by getting up at sunrise. Wake up and work hard. The animals will wake up and see you working hard and thinking, I should work hard too. And then she says, like, one quote, I was like, why did you say that? Like, early squirrel gets the nut. It's just, the way she says it is really, really weird. It's just a very odd character. It's just, she was weird. And another moment was so awkward. I was like, why did the directors did this? Why did they put this in the movie and say, yeah, let's Andie, let her do this? She was singing. There was like two scenes that she was singing. Like, it was so weird. Like in the scene when Buddy and Shirley come back from the city and telling the animals they didn't find any food. The animals are panicking, and then you have Andie saying, "It's okay. This park has everything we need. Let nature take it." And then you have the birds tweeping, and then all of a sudden there's music, and then she just starts singing. It's really funny. I was like Shirley. I was like, "What are you doing?" It was really, really weird. She's just like, it felt like the right thing to do. What? What? It's not the Nut Job 2, the musical. Like, what if she continued? Like, oh my god, that I just can't imagine just listening to that. But what's really funny is that Surly and the other animals are like the audience reaction. Like, I like how the three mice were like, one says, "It was a little awkward. You're a bad singer." Yeah, it was a little pitchy. And then she's like, "Geez, tough crowd." No, it's not a tough crowd. That was really an awkward scene. And like Sir's like, don't ever do that again. But like I said, at the end of the movie, she was actually more of the character she was in the first one. I love the scene when she tears down the roller coaster by using the tractor. I thought that was badass. And like one quote that she said, I was like, oh, that's a good one. When at the end of the movie, when Surly sees a nut cart and begging Andie to get to the nut cart to just get one bag, he's like, "I promise I'll get one bag." And she's like, "You better make it two, because I am not sharing." Like I said, I liked her more in the first movie, but because she was more independent, she was strong, and she was not a damsel in distress. But in this one, I said I like her, but there was like a lot of moments that she was really weird. But she's also Surly's love interest, and I really liked her character, but I actually enjoyed her in some ways. And then we have the villains. We have the mayor. He was so likable. I actually really liked him a lot than Raccoon, because here's why. So the mayor had a reason to be a villain. He had a reason why he was evil and greedy and wanted to destroy the park, because he wants to make profit. And I think the reason why is because with Raccoon, here's a problem I have with Raccoon, because I might be the only one that thinks like this. The reason why Raccoon was a villain, because he doesn't want the animals to have a lot of food. Because he thinks if they have a lot of food, it's going to create chaos and he can't control the park. So his solution is to kill Surly, Andie, get rid of the bruisers, get rid of the animals, and animals don't have food. And I'm like, what? Why? What's with that? Like, his motto that he says in the film.
Have you forgotten my motto? Animals are controlled by the amount of food they have. It is our duty to keep it from them.
What the hell does that supposed to mean? But like I said, I really like the villain. He was really good. He was really funny. He was a classic politician, Trump type character. That's what everybody's saying about him. But I really liked him a lot. I even loved his daughter, Heather. She was very likable. I really like her character. I always loved the spoiled brat girl type character. And she reminded me a lot of Darla Dimple from Cats Don't Dance and Darla from Finding Nemo. And she's a combination of those two. And I see her more as a Darla, not a Heather. But she was very likable. She was really funny. She was very likable to watch. I just like how spoiled and stubborn she is. And then we have Gunther, who is an animal control officer. And he was likable as well. He had some funny moments, but he was very, very, very creepy. But yeah, like I said, these villains were very likable. They were very enjoyable to watch, and they were so much better than Raccoon. And then we have Mr. Feng, who is voiced by Jackie Chan. He was very, very cute. No, not cute, not cute.
Don't call me cute!
He was a cool character. But he was only in the movie for like 10-15 minutes. Like, we don't see him till like in the middle of the movie. But he was very funny. He was very adorable. And I like Jackie Chan. I like his personality with his characters he plays. There's not a lot of things I say about Mr. Feng, but all I can say is I wish he was in the film more often. I really enjoyed him. I think it was a very adorable character. But like I said, I wish he was more shown up in the movie. And then we have other characters. So, Precious, the dog. She was better than the first one. I liked her more. She was not annoying as much as the first one. She was funny. She was very lovable. She has a love interest by Frankie. So she gets kidnapped by Heather, and she sees Frankie, the other dog. And Frankie, I really like Frankie. Frankie is a really cool dog. He was very likable. It focused a lot about his character, about his background, and that his side of this character is that he deals with abuse and not being treated very well. And he's a good dog. He's really caring. He cares a lot about Precious. He's just really likable character, and I really enjoyed him. And then we have Buddy, who is Surly's rat friend. I really like Buddy in this one. I liked him better. He was more useful in this movie, and he had a better characterization, I would say. And then we have other animals. They were funny and adorable, but we have that annoying mouse that just, oh my god, he just annoys me a lot when he screams, "We're all gonna die! We're all gonna die! We're all gonna die!"
More specifically, you're gonna die.
He says it like every 10 minutes. And then I'm like, I was in the theater, and every time when he says that, I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up. Like I said, these characters were really funny. They were very likable. And the best part about the whole movie and with the characters, there was no Grayson. Oh my god. Thank God there was no Grayson. I freaking hate Grayson. He was so annoying. I totally hated Grayson. I hated everything about this character. He was annoying. He was fake. He was stupid. He was clumsy. I was just like, thank God that he was not in this second movie, because I don't know. I maybe will have a different opinion about this movie if Grayson was involved. So, thank God he's not in this movie. Now we're going to go with my favorites. Number one is the animation. This animation was so much better than the first one. It looked more realistic. And it looked more like a 2017 animation movie. Because in the first one, it had terrible quality of animation. It was not realistic. Animators didn't take any advantage of the animation in the first one. More like a 2000-2001 style, like Shrek, Madagascar, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, Toy Story, because around that time, animation was more computerized. It didn't look very much realistic, even though those movies are really, really good, but the animation was not realistic as well as they are in this time of year. Animators really took advantage of animation in this movie because they added explosions, they added color, light, visual effects. Some of the things that were very realistic were like the amusement park, Liberty Park, the people, the city. The characters look more realistic with the fur and the eyes. But yeah, I'm really impressed with the animation. It is so much better quality than the first one. Number two, soundtrack. I really like the songs in this movie. Like, there was a lot of upbeat, some like dance-off type songs. Like, in the trailer, they have Do Something Crazy by Out of Sight and Serena Ryder called Perfect Day. It was at like the end, like the very end of the credits. And there's also a music video. That song was a really good song. I really enjoyed it. And one song that I really, really liked, but I can't find it anywhere in YouTube, iTunes. I've even asked people, do you know where this song is? And they're like, no. I love the song Everybody Get Nuts by Luke. I think it's by Luke Edmond. It was at the ending of the credits when all the characters are dancing, like in the first one they did with Gangnam Style. But in this second one, I really like this because I just love how it starts when it says nuts, nuts. It was a really good song. I really liked it. It was very upbeat. It was really pumped up. I love how the song is all about nuts, but I can't find it anywhere on YouTube or iTunes. I can't find the whole track. So if you know where it is, or if you can find it, please send it to me or let me know, because I really want to listen to that song. I really like it. So The third one is the character's background. So it was mostly Surly's background. I love the scene when Surly has the flashback on how he met Buddy. And I really like this scene because we finally get to know a little bit of background of Surly. Because in the first movie, we don't know anything about Surly's background. Like, we don't know, why is he grumpy? Why is he the outcast of the park? Why does the park not like him very much? How did he met Buddy? How did he met the other characters? And this scene really said it all of how he met Buddy. I like the scene because it shows that Surly was a little squirrel. He lived in the park, and there was a hurricane or a storm, and Surly was trying to find a safe place, and then he sees Buddy in trouble, and he goes and saves Buddy, and then he gets knocked out, and they both save each other, and then Buddy actually saves Surly from something, like Surly gets knocked out or something by like a piece of metal or something, and then Buddy saves him, and it shows that's how their friendship began. I really liked that scene. It really showed me that, wow, Surly's character in the beginning, when he was a kid, he was actually a nice squirrel. He actually had a heart. He actually cared about Buddy, and that's how the friendship began. And I thought that was really, really great how they put that out. Surly and Andie are my favorite part of this movie, because with me, I'm a couples person, so I love cartoon couples. I love how the film focused a lot on these two. To me, it was like the second main focus point, even though a lot of people are not talking about these two, but they do. They have a lot of cute scenes together and have some romantic hints. One scene that I was like, okay, this is romantic, was when Surly gets captured by the rat gangs and Raccoon is like trying to find out, why is Surly doing this for the park. And he's like, is this just revenge against me? And he's like, no, you're trying to impress someone. He says Grayson, and then he says Andie, and then you see Surly's impression of like shock, like, oh my god, he knows. That kind of showed me he's trying to impress Andie. This is kind of like a romantic type situation, even though we don't see it in the first one. But a lot of people are like, no, they're friends, they're not romantic. I'm like, yes, they do. They kind of showed a little bit in the first one. And then in like the second one, like one scene that was really, really funny to watch, when Surly was mimicking Andie, that he was pretending to be Andie by the bottle, and I thought that was really funny. And then you have like Surly saving a Brazil nut for Andie at the beginning of the movie, and I thought that was really cute. And they fight a lot, they argue a lot, but it was actually kind of fun to watch. It was just really kind of a love-hate relationship, and I thought it was really, really cute. And then you have like the amusement park, and they have a very special moment at the end when Andie gives Surly a kiss on the cheek, and then we have Surly gives Andie a kiss on the cheek, and I was like, oh my god, they're doing that special moment, they have a special moment. And there are two quotes by Surly that I was like, oh my god, that is so adorable. Like, one quote that I loved the most was like, I would love to appreciate what was right in front of me. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then one quote that just blew my mind was he like tells Andie at the end, says, this is why I love you. And I'm like, he just said that. He just said that I love you. He just said those 3 words. Like, but I really liked Surly and Andie. I felt that the relationship was so great. It was so heartwarming and I just love those two, and they were really cute together. So I really liked that. That was like my favorite in this movie. So yeah. And then we have my vision of the movie, what I think that should have happened and what scenes I think should have happened in the movie. One should have been more bloopers. I felt like there should have been more bloopers in the movie, because at the end there's only one blooper that you have Mr. Feng karate punching Surly and he keeps messing up, and then you have Jackie Chan doing voice recording, and it was really funny that he messes up and then he just froze the paper. I thought that was really funny, and Mr. Feng, I thought that was really funny, but it was so short. It was only like 10-15 seconds, and I really think they should have had more bloopers, like maybe having Surly or other characters like messing up lines, bumping into the camera, they can't stop laughing, or they can't get a scene right. And it kind of brought me back memories with the old Pixar films, like Monsters, Inc., Toy Story 2, A Bug's Life. So I wish they shown more of that with the characters, and I think it would have been really fun and entertaining to watch. This kind of made me think about it. I was like, that would be kind of funny, but at the same time awkward. Remember when I said when Andie was singing? What if Surly was singing? Like, I could just imagine at the end of the movie when the park is back, when the animals are living happy at the park, and Surly is just really happy. He just feels great about himself and great about the park, and he's happy. I'm just like, what if he just started to sing? What if he just had that moment that, like, this park's our home, and he starts singing like that? And then you have Andie being like Surly, like saying, what are you doing? So it'd be the reverse, that you have Surly singing and Andie like, what are you doing? And I think that would be really, really funny, like showing Surly, yeah, he could have that moment of feeling singing, even though he says that is why do you just burst into a song like that? And then you get the same reaction like Andie did. And I think it wouldn't be very awkward with Andie as much as Surly would do it. But I think it would have been pretty funny. I could just imagine Will Arnett in a recording studio just singing those words. And I could just think that would be so funny. I think that would be really funny if he did that. I could really enjoy that. I really think Surly and Andie should have kissed but I have like part 1, part 2 of what I think should have happened. I felt like after Andie destroys the roller coaster and hugs Surly, she should have give him a kiss, not a kiss on the cheek, a kiss. Or you have Surly and the gang celebrating that they saved the park, and then like Buddy or Mole like accidentally, I don't know, start fireworks. There'll be fireworks coming up, and the animals are watching them, and then Surly's like, way to go, buddy. And then you have like, they're all watching, they're celebrating, they're happy, and then you have like Andie walks up to Surly saying, you saved the park, and then Surly's like, nope, we all did. And then they both lean for the kiss, and then they share their first kiss. Like, I could just imagine, and then like the fireworks are the background. I can just picture like squirrels kissing, firework background. That's like so perfect. I'd be like, that is really a cute moment. And part 2 was at the end of the movie. So when Surly walks towards Andie holding her hand, and then he gives her a kiss on the cheek. Instead of the kiss on the cheek, it should have been like a quick kiss, like 2-3 second kiss. I feel like that would happen. That would be another kiss scene. But I like that they were giving each other a kiss on the cheek. I just thought it was really romantic. It was really heartwarming. It was really cute. But I wish that one of the parts that I was saying that should have had one kiss scene, like a quick kiss or something. I thought that would have been really, really cute. So my personal review about this movie. Number 1, I feel really bad about this movie. I really, really do, because number 1, everybody does not like this movie. Movie theaters are always empty. So I saw this movie in theaters twice. I saw it the first time and I'm like, I want to see it again. Usually I have to see movies twice or 3 times to understand what's going on or to understand the story. And the first time I was there, 8 people were there. There were kids, but it was really funny. There was like an old disabled lady sitting on the front watching this movie. And I was like, she didn't watch Dunkirk or Annabelle or Dispel Me 3. She went to see the Nut Job 2. And then she had like a tub of popcorn and a large Diet Coke. And I was like, that is so cute. But yeah. And then when I went to the second time, only 3 people. But yeah, I was at the big theater room, and there was hardly anybody. And it's all over social media. Like, I go to Instagram and search Nut Job 2, and mostly every post is with kids or parents taking selfies with their kids saying, we're the only people in the theater, or where's everybody else? And you see rows and rows of empty seats, and I'm like, oh God, that's terrible. But it's just terrible with the movie theater. And one thing that I hate the title of it. This movie is titled the worst all-time film opening in 4,000 plus theaters in film history. That is really, really, really bad. Because in the first day, it's only made 8 million. But right now I heard it's making, it's almost 22 million in 14, 15 days, which that's actually pretty good because the production budget is 40 million. So if it's past 40 million, that's good. They're making not a lot of money, but they're making a decent amount of money. But I thought like this movie should have made over $100 million because the first one did. First one made $120 million. I feel like the first one should make only $10 million, and this one should make over $100 million. Because like I said, this one is so much better than the first one. I just feel like people need to forget about the first movie because the first movie was awful. People, if you kids or parents or anybody, if you have the nut job, or if you work at a movie store and you see the nut job, burn it, destroy it, get rid of it. Do not buy the first movie because it is terrible. People should forget about the first one, pretend the first one doesn't exist, and focus on this one. Pretend this is the first movie. I felt like this should be the first movie, and not the first movie, The Nut Job. Other people's review, I've been listening to other people's review, and all saying that this movie is awful, and this movie is known as a kid distractor. That parents will turn on the TV, you put on the movie, you put let your kids watch it, it's for 90 minutes, and then parents can go outside and lay out the sun and have a drink. No, I don't believe it's that type of movie. I believe it's very engaging and very enjoyable, and I think it brings a lot of heartfelt moments, and I think adults would even enjoy it. Everybody's saying that the story is cliche and it's been done before. What other movies that had the same story? Like, people are too focused at, oh, it's not original, it's the same story, we overheard this. To me, I don't care about the story. I care about how the movie made me felt, or how, even though if the story's been said a billion times, I want to see how it reacts, how I feel about the movies, about the characters, the story, the whole thing. Everybody's bringing out that this movie is all about death, it's all about laziness, but nobody talks about the friendship or the relationship. They're saying that the humor was not there, that the humor sucked. They don't like that the movie was set in the 1950s or 60s. They're saying that this movie will be forgotten. It's worse than the first one, which I do not agree with that. And they're thinking this movie is more like a Looney Tunes movie. That's the first one. The first one was so much of a Looney Tunes movie, saying that this is just a kid's movie, it's not for adults. And I just really think everybody's too over dramatic over everything, over the littlest thing in this movie, when they should just focus on how great and how much improvement it did. Because with the difference with the first one, like I said, the first one was boring, bad quality of animation. The story, there was nothing special about the story. It did not engage the audience. The story was confusing. All the characters are very hateful, annoying, mean-spirited. You have no sympathy for the characters. Humor was terrible, and it was disgusting. Like I said, there was a lot of fart jokes, and it just did not make me laugh. It just made me disgusted about the characters. And the only best scene I liked was the ending credits when all the characters are dancing Gangnam Style. I thought that was like the best ending credits I've ever seen. And the hug scene with when Buddy and Andie are giving Surly a hug. I thought that scene was really, really cute. And there was no range of emotion for this movie and the characters. So with the directors, I really felt like the directors listened to us. They listened to our criticism and understand where we were coming from, saying how terrible the movie was, what things we didn't like about this movie, and they actually made it better. They got rid of Grayson and annoying characters except for the mouse, and getting rid of the fart jokes, better character development on Surly, better animation, and a better story. And I really felt like they improved the movie to the next level and made it so much better than the first one. And directors, if you're watching this video, I'm actually proud of you. I applaud, because I really felt like you really care about the audience perspective and the audience criticism, and you're not those types of directors that just do not care and just say, oh, I believe this is a good movie. I don't care what you say. We're going to do how we want it. It's my movie. I'm going to do how I want it. I'm kind of glad that you were not that type of director, and you actually were like, these audience did not like this movie. Let's make it better. Let's do a sequel. So, directors, I'm actually happy that you put a lot of improvement, and I'm actually very proud of you that you made this movie a whole lot better. So, thank you for doing the sequel. I don't know, this is another thing that this might be very insane, the most shocking confession I've ever made about this movie. I kind of want a Nut Job 3, because here it is. I want more adventures and more character development on the characters. I actually really like these characters. I actually want to get to know about them more. I want to see more adventures with these characters. More progress on the relationship and friendship. More development on Surly, Andie, Buddy, and Precious. A more likable villain. I don't know specifically of like a plot of what should happen in the movie, but maybe like new animals join the park, like, or maybe this is a plot when winter begins and they're trying to do everything to survive for winter, when they're storing food or getting warmth, getting shelter, and that could be another thing. Or I think, because I actually searched the directors and it looked on the bottom, it said upcoming movies, and it said The Nut Job 3 2019. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen like 2020 or 21. But I also looked at the Wikipedia of the Nut Job 2 plot, and at the very last sentence, I was like, oh no. It was the post-ending credits. It said, in quote, in the post-credits scene, it is revealed that Raccoon is still alive and he is swimming back home with the sharks pursuing him. Oh my god, that's kind of showing me in the third one now it's going to be the Nut Job 3, Raccoon's Return. So I feel like the third one's going to be like, oh, the villain is back. They're going to defeat him again. What are they going to do? And blah, 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 blah. So my ratings of the movie, for a scale of 1 out of 10, I would give it a 7. 0 out of 5 stars, I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. My recommendation of this movie, I really think kids should go see this movie. Kids, family. So parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, kids, if you're watching this video, please take your kids, your brother, your sister, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews to go see this movie. Even ask them, say, hey, do you want to go see The Nut Job 2? And they probably will say yes. Trust me, you will enjoy this movie. I think it's worth seeing in theaters. I feel like people should give this movie a second chance and just forget about the first one and focus more on this one. So I really think this movie should deserve a second chance and should make more money than the first one did. And for my Rotten Tomato, I would still give it a Rotten Tomato, but I would upper the percentage a little bit, because it's 11% and the first one was 10%. So it's a 1% improvement. No way it's not 1% improvement. I would give it either 20% or 30%. So that's all I have for my movie review. Thank you for watching for The Nut Job 2 Nutty by Nature. I hope you go see it in theaters and enjoy the movie. Leave comments below on my video, and thank you for watching. See ya.